Live from the Man Cave, treadmills and tangents with Coach Aaron Cerrone and his army of wellness warriors. Live in discussion of all things health and wellness, along with community topics they happen to stumble upon.
And good morning, Omaha. This is Coach coming to you live from the Man Cubby. You're listening to Treadmills and Tangents. I'm here with Timmy and Sam joining us today.
Good morning,
guys. Why are you laughing?
Every time you say Man Cubby, I just laugh.
I reclaimed the Man Cubby. It's no longer the in-law suite.
I was going to bring that up. I was going to mention that last time when it was just Coach and I felt a little bit more risque. I was like, there's not any room for me to do push-ups in here. Now, there was a little corner, and now that I'm a lot smaller, I probably could fit over there.
There's a bed, but I reclaimed. Actually, all I did was I moved the bed and threw it in my daughter's room is what I did. And come to find out, that's where it was. It was an extra mattress underneath her bed. But the Man Cubby is back. We're still not to the Man Cave level.
We're kind of
I put my foot down. I put my foot down.
Hey, sometimes you gotta put
and I said, "This is how it's gonna be."
It's almost like that old Robin Hood knockoff movie. It's like we're men in tights.
Oh,
like,
God.
our Man Cubby is not quite where we'd like it to be, but we're trying to get there.
It's a process.
Yeah.
It's a process.
It's called marriage, folks.
Rome wasn't built in a day.
No, it was not.
True fact.
It crumbled pretty quick, but it wasn't built in a day. But so we got some open floor space. I do have some cushy plush animals laying around here still. But we're getting there. We're getting
the job done.
Yeah.
The word man is back in the Man Cubby. That's all I'm saying.
That's right.
We've established.
Even though Sam's in here.
My authority has been reestablished. We're going to talk about a bunch of different things today. First, we're going to talk about, we always talk about diet, nutrition, and I know cravings are a big problem for a lot of people. I have cravings. I got a monster sweet tooth that I'm not going to lie. Everybody knows that, I don't shy away from sweets. At the same time,
I'm with that one. I love sweets.
I do try to control it as much as I can, but I'll be the first person to sit down and crush, a coconut cream pie or a sundae or something like that. But I try to save it and make it worth it and not make it a constant thing in my diet in my life.
Right.
But Timmy found on the Twitter a meme on how to handle food cravings, and what it is, it's a little matrix, for lack of a better term. And it's what you crave, what your body is telling you that you need, and what you should eat instead. Now, we have no scientific proof behind this, but generally cravings are a signal that your body is wanting something, more importantly. So if you crave chocolate, what it's naturally saying is you want magnesium. I did not know this.
Neither did I.
And another way to get magnesium instead of chocolate is your nut seeds, vegetables, and various fruits. So there's a healthy alternative to chocolate. Although we know that dark chocolate is very good for you.
Correct.
In terms of antioxidants and whatnot. So, but again, we talked about this. The dark chocolate, we're like 85% dark chocolate. The stuff that most people find
in moderation.
Very bitter. Yes.
Still in moderation.
I ate a pound of dark chocolate today. Super healthy going on.
There's no oxidants up in here.
So if you want sweet, sugary foods, your body's generally asking for chromium, carbon, phosphorus, sulfur, and tryptophan, which tryptophan you can also find in turkey.
In case anyone wants to know the periodic table of elements, we just knocked out half of it.
We sure did. We sure did. So what you can eat instead are your dark greens, broccolis, cabbages, cauliflowers. Cabbage really isn't dark green.
No,
Parts of it. Sweet potatoes, spinaches, and nuts and veggies. If you're eating breads and pastas, you're generally needing nitrogen. Again, your dark leafy greens, your collards, your kales, things like that. Oily foods, calcium, which that sounds bizarre to me. I'm not going to lie to you. But
yeah, I usually am not craving pizza and thinking about calcium myself.
I was going to say, I'll crave pizza.
Oh, yeah.
I'm an East Coast kid. I crave pizza.
I mean, we could get in the car and drive to Chicago right now.
What's your favorite pizza in town?
Roman Coin is probably one of my favorites.
I still haven't gone to that place you told me about.
Paisans.
Yeah.
Paisans is my favorite right now. It's right. It's where the old King Kong used to be on 156.
Oh, okay.
In the center L Street industrial merger area, right there.
When did that pop up?
Well, Paisans has always been there, but then they moved over to where the King Kong went out of business. And but yeah, they have the whole. But it's good. I like it. It's good hand tossed, big pies. Other than that, I like some of the Don Carmelos. I like the one over in Rockbrook is owned by a guy from Jersey. So that gives me some confidence that it's pretty legit. So I've been there. But Paisans is my favorite right now. Roman Coin, it's decent.
Yeah.
It's decent.
Mine's probably toss up between Sortino's and Mama's, and I don't eat pizza that often anymore. So usually it's just I take the toppings off, but that's where we get pizza from in my household.
What? Oh, you eat the toppings.
Yeah, I just eat the toppings.
Oh, I was like, why would you do that?
I did that
It's,
once.
either way, it's
I
blasphemy
yeah.
on
actually,
pizza.
we got a
Either way.
pizza during football season last year, and I sent Coach a picture of
That's right. I do remember
just
that.
the crust, and he goes, "Don't ever do that again." I put all the crust back in the box, and I ate.
Well,
the
first of
entire
all, you
toppings.
shouldn't play in your food, right? That's just good
Didn't
manners.
your mom ever tell you that?
That's
when
just
you were a kid?
manners. Don't play with your food.
You don't.
Hey,
Dude, don't deface your food.
I'm over here trying to get a six pack, bro.
Don't
Especially
deface.
pizza. Well, you got one ab going, so
I do. I got one good looking ab. too.
An ab, better than none,
That's right.
right?
least I got
Something's
hair.
better than nothing. Anyway, oily foods. The reason we say pizza because there's a picture of pizza sitting on there. But
That
calcium,
makes sense.
again, you can get what you need. Obviously, from your dairy, you get some calcium, but you can also get it from your dark greens. Again, your broccoli, your asparagus, bok choy, figs, dates. So I'm noticing a trend that dark greens are on all of these.
Right.
Yeah.
And nuts are on almost all of them too. I mean, that's the first one that didn't have
This
nuts,
is
nuts on
just
there. So.
nuts.
Dun-dun. We'll be here all hour, folks.
Or
All
don't
hour.
turn the channel for fear of missing one. And then salty foods, you need chloride and silicon. We'll just jump in a pool and drink some water. Not chlorine. Chloride, not chlorine. Anyway, so again, celery, tomatoes, lettuce, seaweeds, and then nuts again, cashews, nuts, and seeds. So basically, a lot of your cravings you can satisfy with nuts and your dark greens.
With much better options too.
Much better options, much lower calories, higher nutrient density, and very keto friendly.
Ooh, I know a thing or two about keto.
Ooh, a thing or two. So speaking of which, guys, I noticed, I saw an article, we had talked about the documentary The Magic Pill on Netflix. I just saw today Netflix is getting pressure to take that documentary down. And there are some doctors coming out trying to poo-poo what the person was saying. And basically their only argument is, well, the person who made the documentary is actually a chef and not a doctor, even though he brings in a bunch of doctors to talk about the subject and provide data.
And he uses people actually doing stuff. It's not like
Yeah,
he made
he
anything
does.
up. You're following. If you guys haven't watched it, they're following these people and getting the real results as they're happening. It's not like he called Sam and was like, "Well, you tried this. How do you feel?"
Yeah.
Like it was real, legit information.
And like you said, he's got doctors in there. He's not just saying this himself, so he's getting true facts. from
What you're
them.
going to see, though, is you're always going to see somebody either defend or try to be contradictory to it because they have a position they need to defend as well.
Well, that's you get people off medicine. That's serious money. Now you're starting to mess with. I mean,
Mess
Well,
with a
to
lot of
say
medicines and dollars.
that diet can be used as a preventative measure to cure and prevent most diseases, which the crux of that documentary is the majority of these chronic diseases are essentially one disease, and it's diet centric and diet initiated, and you can cure it and prevent it with diet. Well, now you're taking a lot of work away from a lot of doctors potentially. So you're going to have some doctors come to the defense of the traditional American diet, which we know is causing the majority of the problems.
a lot of dollars getting away from him too. Then
the sugar industry,
I mean, there's
the
a lot of industries affected by
medicinal
it.
industry. You're talking. I mean, they make money off it. They want people to get stuck in that rut because then they tell you to eat certain foods, which make you have to take medicine, and then you have to. I mean, it's just a crazy cycle, man.
Which is a good segue because we found another post talking about. We've known this that sugar is a vicious cycle, carbohydrates are a vicious cycle, and we know part of the reason that you can't get away from it is because once you start eating it, your body actually starts craving it, and you get more hungry for it, and then you get caught in this cycle of not being able to get away from the carbs and the sugars. Sugar addiction is very real, and we know it has the same effect as cocaine
Right.
on your brain.
People laugh at me all the time when I talk to them, and they're like, "Well, what's the biggest thing?" And I was like, "You got to get off sugar." I mean, I don't care if you do keto, don't do keto, whatever, but you've got to either get off or limit your sugar. And when I say it's more addictive than cocaine, they're like, "Oh, I'm like, no, I'm not kidding.
It's bad.
It's bad for you, and it is highly, highly addictive."
Well, what happens is that once you start eating sugar, your blood sugar spikes, dopamine's released, and we know dopamine is very addictive to the brain. When you have a drop in blood sugar, what's the brain want? Wants more. Something's good. I need more. It needs its fix, right? And
Right.
the brain's telling you to smack your arm. Give me some.
Right.
Give me some more.
Give me a bump.
And then, but what happens is
John Jones.
when you have simpler sugar, jeez,
Every time.
Just a little bump sometimes.
Just
That's
a
all,
little,
that's all a
just
guy
a little,
needs, I guess.
just a little. And what happens is when you have simpler sugars, your blood insulin will spike very fast and then drop very fast, which wants you to get more in immediately. Okay, because the craving is incredibly large initially, so you want to try to fix the craving. So what happens? You get hunger, you get cravings, you eat more, and then the cycle starts over. We'll post this as well, just so you guys can see this visually, because seeing is believing a lot of times, but just it is an addictive cycle, and it's hard to break. I mean, it's very hard to break. I mean, how long did it take you, Tim, before you finally felt like you got away from the carbs and the sugars where you didn't actually like you didn't walk into the room and start itching when you saw when you saw some Cocoa Puffs? Like, I need it.
There's still sometimes with pizza where I see pizza and I'm like, I have to talk myself out of it. But it was probably a good couple months before
you gotta talk yourself off the ledge.
Before I really was like, if my wife and I went out to dinner and she ate something, I wasn't like, oh, I really want to try some of that. I didn't mess with any of it. And that's why a lot of people they call it the keto flu. It's coming off this stuff. It's your body almost goes into a point where, it's like a drug addict.
It's withdrawal.
Right. They put you in and you start withdrawals and people are like, oh my God, what do I do? I'm like, it sucks, man, but stay the course, drink water, don't give into it, because if you do, then you're going to get right back into that cycle again. But that just shows you how addictive and how bad it is for you, that if you stop eating sugar, that your body starts to freak out. That's crazy.
Right, initially. And I find for myself that when I allow myself some sugar, I start wanting more. And when I get away from it, I don't want it as much. I just don't crave it. And if it's not in front of me, I don't go looking for it if it's not in front of me. But when I do eat it, if I do have like a weekend of just mayhem where I'm just crushing whatever is in front of me, then I'll start looking for it. And I'll go out of my way to get it sometimes. And I have to break myself of it. I almost have to go a week, 2-3 weeks without any sugar, then just to get away from that craving, because it is so addicting that I'll start looking for it myself. And if it's in the house, I'll eat it.
Right.
Terrible.
So being off of it for so long, we went out for Mother's Day and my wife got a giant cinnamon roll. So I just dipped my finger in the frosting and took a lick, and my eyes started watering. Like my body couldn't handle the amount of sugar.
Because you were so happy.
Sweet. No, I was
cinnamon roll. How could you not be happy?
Oh my God! Like I didn't realize how far off and away from it I had been for so long that just that little bit, like I was blown away, and then I wanted more. I didn't have more, but I was like, that was kind of tasty.
Well, I just posted something on our Facebook. There's a local gym. It's actually a franchise, and they posted an article trying to bunk keto, saying it's bad, it's not real, and that you do need carbohydrates. Your body needs that fuel to work out. And if you want to learn more, come to our gym, yada, yada, yada. And it really was just a giant ad and a pitch.
Yeah.
And they gave no supporting evidence to what they're saying. But here's what I'll say. And a lot of people go, well, there are a lot of doctors that say your body does need carbohydrates. Here's the thing, guys, is that most people, unless you are, and this is just a generalization here, unless you are 10% body fat or lower, you don't need any carbohydrates in your diet. And what I mean by that is you have enough body fat, right? You have more than enough body fat than you need, that your body is not efficiently burning fuel where you need carbohydrates in your diet. Now, when you get to the point where you're starting to hang around 10%, and I'm talking just walking around on a daily basis, 10% body fat or lower, and you're an athlete where you're burning through fuel like there's no tomorrow, like your body doesn't physically have enough body fat on you,
like Michael Phelps talking,
to sustain the high level of performance you're trying to achieve. Okay, yes, then you need some carbohydrates to augment what you're trying to do, right?
So
and we're not talking
get more carbs in my diet.
We're not. Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. Yes, please,
Mr. I did keto for 2 days and gave up.
Please
I'm under
misconstrue
10%
this.
body fat,
But my point is, though, is that that's not an excuse to go out and eat a bunch of garbage. You still have to be smart about what you're eating. You're talking low, slow-burning carbohydrates like your oatmeals. You still stay away from your grains and your sugars. But you can get away with a higher level of carbs in your diet because you're burning through it, because your body actually needs it, because your body fat stores are lower. When you are sitting around 20, 25, 30, 40% body fat, which most of America is, yeah, you don't need carbs in your diet. I will agree, there's a point where you may need carbs in your diet, but for 99.9% of the people, that is not you. Right? And it just is what it is.
That doesn't mean you're that 0.01%.
Yeah.
Right? Elite athletes, okay, yeah, you need carbs in your diet.
Right.
Your body fat is so low. and you're burning it, and you need immediate energy to get you through those high intense workouts that you're probably doing 2 to 3 times a day.
Yep.
But how many of us are elite athletes? How many of us are walking around 10% body fat or lower? Very few, right? And I've had conversations with people, and I'll say, well, I allow myself some ice cream and some sugar. And the response was, Aaron, you're not obese. I'm
Yeah,
like,
but you still care about your body.
But the point is that my body can handle it,
Yeah.
right? I'm at a point where my body fat is low enough to where I can get away with eating some sugars.
And you don't
'cause-
overindulge as well.
And I don't overindulge either. Now, could I be better? Could I be even a little more body fat? Yeah, of course.
What's
So
life without
to
a
say
little pie?
that your body needs carbs as fuel to get you through your workout is so ridiculously. I don't even know what the words.
It's
I
way too
almost
much of a
dropped the
generalization.
F-bomb right there.
It's way too much of a generalization.
It's not even a generalization. It's misleading, and
True.
it's grossly false that you could tell people who are overweight that, hey, you need those carbs to come in and be able to do your workout here at our facility. That's leading them down the wrong path, because that workout, one, it's all for naught because you haven't effectively changed their diet. If they're still taking in carbs and their body's still going to store body fat, you're not going to fix them at all.
But then
And
you
they
see
think-
them to come back. All it is
It's a
there's
vicious
another
cycle.
gym
It's a cycle.
that I won't name, but there's a gym that like every Friday has pizza for their members.
Oh.
You go in and eat pizza and work out like what?
Ridiculous.
Wow.
No, it's ridiculous, and
It's like it pisses me off. Like why would
it's-
you do that?
it's bad parenting.
It's
Very bad.
right.
It's bad parenting.
Why would you not want to make people better? Because there's always going to be people that need to come in. Like there's no point in sabotaging people so you can make them keep coming back. Like I don't get it.
But not only that, the fitness and exercise will always be a part of the regimen, always be a part of the
Yes.
larger holistic approach. Why sabotage their diet? Why give them this false impression they can keep eating carbs because that's what they need to fuel their workout? When you look at them and they're 25% body fat, they have plenty of fuel for their workout.
You wouldn't
There's literally fuel all around them.
talk about free marketing. You do what's right. For
And that's
people.
not a fat shame, by the
Right.
way.
You do what's right for people, and then their friends and other people see it, and then they're going to want to come there because you're getting results. If you go to a gym for like 3 years and you're not any better, who else is going to want to come to the gym with you? Like pissing away money at that.
Let's just logically look at this. There are people out there who all they do is change their diet. They don't work out anymore. In fact, they may not even exercise at all. They get on whether it's a paleo diet or a ketogenic diet or a low carb diet, or they just cut all the garbage, all the processed foods and sugars out of their diet, and they lose a ton of weight and a ton of body fat without even exercising.
I had a lady at work who actually did that.
There are millions of people who are on that treadmill every day not losing any body fat.
Right.
So what does that tell you?
The answer is nutrition, Bob.
By the way, that's the first trivia they've gotten right. And all of our attempts to get trivia. And it wasn't even a
We're
question.
getting a little smarter here.
Was that for worth $1 million?
We're getting a little smarter. What else? We had one other thing on the Tweeter.
Yeah, it was about,
On,
about
Twitness.
sleep.
Oh, yeah, we talked about sleep, and we know sleep is absolutely vital to be healthy and just vital for longevity and vital as an anti-aging remedy. Okay, you cannot get enough sleep. So we found what your brain doesn't do, I'm sorry. And again, I can't read when I'm talking to a microphone. What happens when your brain doesn't sleep? And we talked about this, that your brain actually needs to shut down. If your mind's racing, you're not going to get good sleep. What happens when your brain doesn't sleep? You lose memories, sleep loss, focuses on negative experiences, generally speaking. Yeah, you generally don't stay awake thinking about happy thoughts at night. It's usually bad things, negative things that are
Correct.
stressing you out.
Yep.
Right? It leads to more anger. Again, it's kind of a vicious cycle, right? It leads to more anger. Impaired wit. When you skimp on sleep, you're not as clever. So if you're a comedian, get your sleep.
Yeah, Tim.
Or if you fancy yourself as a comedian, get your sleep. That brain fog or that cloudy head tends to be more prevalent. Cerebral shrinkage, like literally cerebral shrinkage. That's bizarre that your brain will actually shrink due to
Yeah.
lack of sleep.
That's not good.
Well,
Just throwing that out there.
especially if you're trying to get swole for the summer,
Correct.
you don't
That
want
cold
the
water.
brain shrinking.
That cold
Here
water
we
will
go.
get you every time.
Don't want to
Apparently
walk
we got enough
around.
sleep.
You don't want to walk around being T-Rex with a little peanut brain.
False memories. Getting us
Slurred
back on
speech.
track.
I had a little bit of that last weekend. Slurred speech.
Maybe just a smidge.
But that's all right.
False memories is interesting.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, I just saw. I was on my trip out to Indianapolis. I was driving out and back. I was listening to a bunch of TED Talks, And I came across one. It was a forensics analyst, CSI kind of guy,
Mhm.
and his job is to part of investigations is to bring analytics and data and science to the courtroom. And he brings about all these studies. He shows how data shows that people with their memories, calls it reconstructive memory or self-reconstructive memory, I think is the term that he used. And that we're not very good at recalling our memories, especially in traumatic experiences. And we will actually pull information from our environment to complete the memory. Meaning, if something bad happened, his example was it was a shooting, a bunch of boys out front, and a father came out to get him inside. It was a drive-by shooting, and a dad got killed. And they falsely imprisoned this kid because they all identified this one person as being the shooter, and that person wasn't even there. And what happened was he reconstructed the scene, and he showed that it was too dark that they could have seen the person's face. It happened too fast. There's no way they could have seen his face. But all 4 witnesses identified the same person as the shooter, and this kid went to prison. Luckily, this guy got him out, but he showed that when people try to recall memories, they'll take things they see in the news, they'll take things they hear from other people, and make that part of their story to fill in the gaps.
Wow.
Interesting.
Right?
That's
He said
That's crazy.
What he said. So his point is that eyewitness testimony is not as reliable as we'd like to think,
Right.
and without evidence, it is very dangerous to convict somebody just on eyewitness testimony because our memory is not that good, especially trying to recall traumatic experiences.
Huh.
Now you add some sleep deprivation in there, and it's even worse.
Right.
Anyway, so the point here is that if you're not sleeping well, your ability to recall facts is not very good. And you might accidentally partake in this reconstructive memory concept and putting in false ideas into your own brain to try to complete the thought.
Wow.
Scary. Yeah, isn't it? And then brain damage, of course, all-nighters. If you're pulling all-nighters all the time, you're actually killing brain cells at the end of the day. So, man. And you can't catch up, right? We think we can stay up all night and then catch up. That's not how it works.
Nope.
Not at all.
Because your circadian rhythm is completely off by that point, and you're sleeping when your body doesn't want to sleep, and you're awake when your body wants to sleep. So yeah, you're actually killing off brain cells. So get a lot of sleep, guys, at the end of the day. Eat your greens and nuts, get a lot of sleep,
Stay away from sugar.
stay away from sugar, and you'll be good. Good to go for the most part. All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break. You're listening to Treadmills and Tangents right here on The Answer, 94.5 FM, 1420 AM. Myself and the gang will be right back.
When you walk into Mid-America Martial Arts, you're walking into more than punching and kicking. You're walking into a community, and that is what I think sets us apart from everybody else. We train anywhere from 4 years old, and we have students as old as in their 60s here. Our main programs are Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai kickboxing, Judo, as well as our strength and conditioning program, which is our Training for Warriors program. Our main goal is that when people leave here, they feel better about themselves. You know, they're a little bit better as a person, they feel a little bit about their life, they feel better about their day. Now, everybody holds baggage, everybody has stress. This is the place where they can come in and put all that away for a little bit and work on themselves. Yeah, do we hope they can defend themselves better? Sure. Do we hope they can punch and kick a little better? Absolutely. None of that matters if they don't feel good about themselves. And that's the main key. If they can walk out of here feeling good about themselves, feeling good about their life, then we've won that day.
Mid-America Martial Arts, located at 14951 Chandler Road in Millard. Give them a call at 402-813-1721 or visit midamericamartialarts.com.
And welcome back, everybody. You're listening to Treadmills and Tangents. You're here live with Coach and the gang and the man, Cubby.
Man, Kobe!
All right, fellas, I want to play a game here. Are you ready? Word play. I'm going to say a word, and I want to hear what's the first thing that comes to your mind.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Keeping it PG.
I know, it's like, hold on,
yeah,
hold on.
Keeping it PG.
Filter here, filter.
PG. I know. Filter, my gosh. So think for a half a second before you
Good thing we're on
blurt
tape
something
delay.
out. We do have
We
a
were on that button, we're like, no!
3-second delay. The oh my gosh button.
Yeah.
Okay, are you ready? So we're gonna word play. I'm gonna say a word. You tell me what pops in your head. Are you ready? We'll do some simple ones to start. Simple being relative with this group here. All right, are you ready?
Ready.
Ready.
Apple.
Sugar.
Apple.
Are you kidding me? Apple comes to mind. Okay, let me clarify the rules. You can't answer a question with the question, nor can you answer the word with the same word.
And we digress to simple, folks.
Simply, yes. I'm just going to polyparrot over there. All right, here we go. Celery.
Peanut butter.
Crunchy.
Nice peanut butter. Little ants on a log over
Absolutely.
there. I like it. I like it. Okay, exercise.
Yes.
Always.
Yes. And are you sure we're talking about exercise?
Oh.
I don't get it. What's so funny? Anyway, okay, swimming.
Water.
So literal.
Good
I mean,
job.
that's the first thing that
Literal.
popped into my head was water.
Recovery.
Tim didn't even have a thought.
He said water, and all of a sudden I was like, really?
That's
My-
what first thing.
Recovery for me.
All right.
Like a recovery workout.
Cardio.
All day, every day.
Tired.
I don't like it. Cardio.
What?
I think when I hear cardio, I think of running, and I hate running. So I think,
Yeah, when we did the Murph, the whole time, that first mile, coach was just... He was behind me, and he was just not happy we were running, but...
anyway,
It is what it
yeah,
is.
when I think of cardio, I think of running. But that's old school, just being drilled into you that was cardio. Get
Right.
on the treadmill, that was cardio. But we know there's so many different ways to do cardio. Okay, here we go. Ready? Diet.
Keto!
Nutrition.
Nice. Grocery shopping.
Online.
This
is your
I
life.
can think of a lot. That's
This is
the
your
problem.
life. How
The
can I
guy-
know an answer?
The problem is it's my life, and I can
This
think of a lot.
guy works at a
Oh.
grocery store, and the word dumbfounds him.
No,
Ugh.
it's the
Ugh.
fact that I can think of a lot.
Was that like an ugh? Like I don't want to have to do
No,
it.
it's a oof. Like it's probably not good.
Do you do your grocery shopping online?
Yeah, we do it online, and then I just go pick it up. I don't have it delivered. I usually
Oh, okay.
go out, and then I
You
pick it
don't
up.
have the Amazon drone try to land on your.
No, we do the Hy-Vee aisles online, so I'll do it, and then it texts me.
I see a lot of people doing that.
It's growing huge.
It makes it easier because then I don't hunt for other stuff, and if I can keep my wife out of the cookie aisle, all the better for me.
Well, that and when Hy-Vee inconveniently just moves crap around on you and you can't find it
Right?
because God knows you need to move the peanut butter for no reason.
It's all right. We're gonna start changing up the web
Whatsoever.
pages now. Just
Oh
to
yeah, that's
irritate you.
awesome. That's
Great.
awesome.
Great.
Just kidding.
So in that case, yeah, have somebody else pick your stuff out just to avoid the
It's just
frustration.
convenient too. Yeah.
I was walking around one time, and finally one of the people, they could see that I was walking around looking for something. Can we help you, sir? And I went, yeah, you can help. I stopped moving stuff around. And she kind of shook her head like, yeah, you're not the only one that says that.
It's funny though because the one you're referring to has done a lot of change in the last year or so, but I still get people. We haven't fully remodeled our store in 10 years, and I still get people saying we change stuff every day. It's funny.
As long as you can find the peanut butter.
No,
it
it's
doesn't matter.
not funny.
Yeah.
It's not funny.
Peanut butter.
Okay, here we go. Back on it. Summer.
Fun.
Bro tanks.
Bro. Why is it?
Bro
why isn't it
tanks,
just?
really?
Why not just a tank? It's a tank top. Why is it a bro tank?
I don't know. I was just trying to sound.
What's the
cool.
difference? I had this discussion.
There
with
is
somebody
no
else.
difference.
I don't think there is, man. I'm trying to be hip with the kids these days.
Bro tank.
We're trying to get on
what's
that-
it called when a woman wears it?
Tankini?
I mean, I could see the spaghetti straps. Like that's a completely different kind
Yeah,
of tank
That's a
top.
cami or something, right?
No, it's a
The
spaghetti
fact that you
strap.
might actually know that scares
A
me.
cami?
I don't know.
Isn't that the thing you just poke your head through and sit on the couch in? Looks like a blanket. But
No.
what's that?
Next! We're losing the crowd. Stay with us. We'll get back on track.
Okay, ready. Goals.
Mine.
Mine?
My goals.
Oh, okay.
I want to achieve goals. I want to have goals.
Sam, what's your
Accomplishments.
accomplishments? Well, speaking of goals, we're going to segue into achieving goals, which I think is something we had Pate Smith, who's a life and success coach, on about a month ago, and he talked about goals, and he made the comment that people like setting goals, people don't like achieving goals. And really what it comes down to is goals are easy to set. Like, hey, I want to do X, Y, and Z. When we start talking about what it really takes to achieve that goal, or more importantly, the amount of work and effort it's going to take, that's when we tend to fail. That's when we don't want to do what it takes. And when you talk to or you listen to podcasts and TED Talks or keynote speeches and a lot of these success coaches, that's really what it comes down to. They all end up saying the same thing. Goal setting is easy. And the reason I want to bring this up is we have a bunch of athletes, and by no means am I throwing them under the bus. They've all heard this from me already. In fact, just recently they heard this from me. And we have a big national tournament coming up, a national kickboxing tournament, a Muay Thai tournament. And this is the largest tournament in the United States, and it is a very hard tournament to win, only because it's going on 15 years now, and the talent goes up every year. The skill level goes up every year, and the amount of experienced people bring to the table is higher every year, as it tends to happen to long-standing tournaments. And we have a bunch of people who we have a long history of taking people to this tournament and doing well. We have a group that's getting ready, and what happens sometimes, you have people that want to throw their hat in the ring, and it's more of the novelty of, I want to fight in this tournament. And I'm not saying any of our people have done that, but I'm not pleased where they're at currently, because I feel that they have approached this as more of a hobby and not prepared seriously like they're going into a very high level tournament. And recently I felt like their performance has exemplified that, and I let them know about it. But it got me thinking about goals, and it's like, you know what? You set this goal of competing, and obviously the fighting arts, combat arts, the ramifications are much different than like playing basketball, right? I'm not just going to lose the game.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, someone might actually do harm to me
Because there's
because
a toofy.
that's the name of the game, right? But it goes to the larger point of goals. Like, you're going to set a goal. If you're not willing to put the work in to properly get to that goal or properly prepare for the event that goal is, you really have to question why you set that goal, and then what you expect to get out of it at the end of the day.
Right.
You know, I've always, you know, being a coach in the combat arts, I never understood why people wouldn't train every day and wouldn't put the max amount of effort in going into an environment like that. And then when they don't do well, not understand why not. Like, why turn to me and go, what happened? You know, why, you know, the training wasn't good. No, you just didn't train.
Yeah.
Or no, you didn't put the time in. Or no, our diet wasn't where it should have been. Or you didn't put the amount of hours in that you should have. And you know, I'm real quick to say, hey, I'm not the one getting punched in the mouth.
I was going to say, as a matter of fact, that
I mean-
day that you're talking about, where we were all standing around, and one of the people looked like they were going through water. They were so slow. I said, "You're the one that's going to get punched in the face, not me. I will be just fine in the corner, hanging out and drinking water." So if that's how you want to go in there, and you feel like that's good enough, then it is 100% on you. You know?
I mean, to a point, right? The coach does have responsibility to get somebody prepared, but more importantly, to offer opportunity to be prepared.
right.
Like, I cannot do it for you. Like, your job coach cannot do it for you. Your mentors cannot do it for you, no matter what your goal is. At some point, you have to put the work in. You have to buckle down and get uncomfortable and be inconvenienced. And I think that's the biggest thing, is what we're getting at here,
Mm-hmm.
is that I want these goals at my convenience. I want to put the work in at my convenience. I want to exercise at my convenience. And when you really think about it, there's nothing convenient about challenging yourself and setting a goal. It shouldn't be.
Right. Well, I can use an example that's even outside of fighting. So last year at Nationals, just coincidentally, one of the guys who from our gym who fought was about 240, 245. I think at that point I was maybe like 290. And I said, and I think you actually brought it up, it's like, we should race to 205. And he's like, all right, I'm all in. So we agreed, we started going, and he just kept waiting. He was like, I'm gonna wait till you get down to my weight before I start getting serious. And I was like, okay, but like, I'm taking this, as serious as I can get. And as a matter of fact, I still think he's at 240, 245 now. And I obviously blew past that and kept on going.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, if you're not going to put the work in and try, like, and at one point, I was low enough that he was like, I don't even care anymore. So I don't understand why he did that goal if he didn't want to achieve it anyway, because I don't think he actually tried to do it. But that's just my opinion.
I think there's the harsh reality sometimes is we set a lofty goal, not understanding what it's going to take to get there. It's always going to be hard work. The answer is always hard work. The answer is always inconvenience,
Always uncomfortable.
and always being uncomfortable, because then it's not a goal. If you really think about it,
Right.
you would already have it. It would just be where you currently are. So to think that it's going to be easy, then one, that really wasn't a challenging goal, and really wasn't a goal to begin with. Yeah, it's easy to set goals that are within arm's reach. Like, okay, big deal. Good for you. You got something that you were practically there already. Now, if that's a stepping stone to something bigger, all right, I'll give you that. But it should be hard,
Right.
right? It's not, if you've never failed, you've never challenged yourself, is what I've always say, right? And the struggle makes you stronger. So even if you don't get to the goal, you are better than what you were by having tried it.
Yep.
Right? By going on the journey trying to get to the goal. But to sit there and to half-ass the effort, expecting you're going to get there, and then be surprised when you're not there, that always shocks me.
Right.
Right? That always shocks me. It's like, well,
What do you think was it?
why didn't I get the A? you didn't come to class ever.
Right.
Well, I didn't think this test was fair. Well, other people did well on it, and they're the ones that showed up to class. I get that all the time at UNO. It's like, hey, why didn't I get a better participation grade? Well,
You gotta
You have to
participate.
participate, right.
That's a kind of key.
why did I only get 70% on class attendance? Were you there 70% of the time? It's like,
Because
what
math.
do you expect? And
Right.
and I think that's just in general. Like when I ask people, how's your diet? Pretty good. So no, right? What
Right.
you're really saying is I'm not even close, right? Because what does pretty good mean?
Pretty good means half-assed.
It means I don't really want to tell you how it is. So I'm going to tell you pretty good, hoping you'll leave me alone.
Right. At the end of the day, it's like
Yeah.
it's that half-ass. Yeah, I thought
Yeah.
about eating well, or I did it
I
2
only ate
days. a
one
week.
bag of chips today.
I had the thought, but didn't apply it.
So that's what baffles me. It's not so much, the goal setting piece. And I found an article on Huffington Post, which the Huffington Post, by the way, not necessarily the most reliable source, but when I've gone through a bunch of these articles, this was just the one I picked because they all essentially say the same thing, why we fail to get to our goals. Number one was excuses, excuses, excuses. Okay,
I
yeah.
can see that one.
Yeah, we can
that's
see
real.
that. And really what excuses are, guys, it's just I'm rationalizing why I didn't do what I was supposed to do or do what I needed to do. Well, traffic.
Making yourself feel better.
Like, I had to let the dog out. Well, car trouble. Well, this. It's like, come on. You show up too late to practice every time. At what point do you just commit to leaving a half hour earlier? Like, at what point do you finally say, I'm consistently showing up late. I need to do something about this because I'm robbing myself of essentially 20 minutes of the time I should be dedicating to what I need to do.
Right.
At the end of the day. And then, it's just like going to the gym. People I couldn't make it today. I had a meeting. Really? Well, was your exercise time on your calendar so that the meeting doesn't get scheduled on top of it? Like, I'm just as bad about that. I'll miss workouts some days, and I know I got some time I should work out, but then I get busy doing other stuff, and I just got to put it on my schedule.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like reading, right? If you want to read more, if that's your goal, to read more over the summer, put it on your calendar. Dedicate a block so that nothing else happens during that time.
That's what I do to get my reading done. Every night before I go to bed, I make sure to get a chapter in.
This is why home gyms don't work. I tell people, don't bother putting a gym in your house. Why?
Right.
You're not going to use it.
That's why I don't want to do online classes if I go back to school, because I know I won't have the motivation.
Dude, they're horrible.
And they are horrible. I've done when I went back to school a couple years ago, I had to do online classes.
I taught one, and I don't like taking them, so I really didn't want to teach one, but I did one anyway this past semester at UNO. And as much as technology can help us interact with students, it's still not the same as being in front of somebody.
It's not.
It's just not, and it never will be.
No.
That one-on-one interaction where they can ask a question right away. I'm actually thinking about, check this out. I'm going to experiment this semester, which I got to be careful when I do stuff like this, because sometimes it fails miserably as a teacher. But I am not going to allow students to interact with me on email or text or phone.
Oh,
If they have a question, they have to ask it in class.
I would prefer to do that.
Right, because I'm trying to, one, eliminate that fear of asking questions in class. I'm trying to promote that personal interaction and those interpersonal skills.
Mm-hmm.
And the other piece is, I always tell them, if you leave a class with a question, that's your fault.
I would agree with that. 100%.
Right? And someone else might have the same question. So why not ask and get it answered? Like, your job in class is to ask questions. That's your only job.
Yeah,
Pay
you're there to
attention and
learn.
ask questions.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's going to be a good experiment. I'm kind of curious to see how
We'll
that's
see
going to work
what happens.
So
I'm sure somebody will complain. I'll get in trouble.
out. Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
he's not available like he should be. I'm sure someone will say that.
The online
yeah.
classes I took when I was doing my bachelor's, we had to do a group project the entire 2 years. We were with a group. And trying to do that with people in different time zones and doing work and stuff, like I would set aside time at night, I'm going to work on my stuff. And finally at the end, I didn't put any of their names on when I turned it in, because I was like, this is ridiculous. I've done all the work myself anyway. Like it's convenient, but it's not, I feel like I could have learned a whole lot more.
It's called social loafing when people don't pull their weight.
Right.
Is the correct
And
term.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm more of a visual learner anyway. So
Yeah.
I kind of have to see and
Seeing is
Just
believing.
seeing.
Yeah, I just finished 2 online classes myself, part of my military education, my PME, which they call professional military education. And I did the whole thing by correspondence, and I was like, oh man, it was mind numbing. Like, if I'm off on my own, write my own papers, but when you're having to log into forums and make posts, and,
Yep, we had to do that
and your
too.
post has to be at
Every
least
week.
500 words with
Yep.
citations, you're like, oh my gosh,
It's brutal.
Anyway,
it is brutal.
I lost my place. So the next one is In setting goals, we actually magnify our fears more than we do our abilities. So this one I found interesting, right? Because what happens is when you set a goal, a lot of people will go, well, I don't know if I can get there, right? The negative self-talk starts to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know if I can really do it. I don't know. You don't know unless you try.
Right.
So, fail. So what?
What if you made it halfway there? You're closer to it than you were if you
Sure.
did nothing.
And again, you're that much better for it.
And then the goal, don't make it so lofty that it does scare you, that it's so daunting that you don't even want to start.
I think that's the biggest thing right there is people make them so lofty right off the bat.
Well, I had somebody tell me one time, it was a great quote, action alleviates anxiety. In other words, do something.
Yep.
Right.
Do anything. I'd given you guys that book, remember that book, Mini Habits?
Yep.
Yep.
And the crux of that book is just start.
Yep.
Start with one. And you hear me yell that in our workouts, guys. Just start. Like if we have to do 20, just do one. Just get up there and do one, because one will lead to two, two will lead to three, and then before you know it, you've knocked out 20. So if the task is so daunting, just do something.
So you got to chip away at it.
Sure. Like if you want to clean out your house or rearrange your closet, all right, start by putting one pair of shoes where it should be, right? And that gets momentum. I know on days where I feel overwhelmed and I got a lot of stuff to do, if I just knock out one little task, I'm like, all right, cool. And I just knock out the next little task, and then you start to get momentum. Like I feel, this is how stupid this is. Like when I clean out my garage, I feel like super accomplished and I'm ready to tackle something big.
I feel that way at work when I get something little, just little things done.
Like when I can look into my garage and it looks clean and organized to me, I'm like, all right, now let's do something. Right now, I don't know what it is about that particular thing that gets me going, but I think if you set a goal that starts to cause fear, that goal's probably too big and too daunting, back it off a little bit. But don't use the goal to highlight your fears, right? Use the goal to work on things you may not be good at, but don't be afraid of it. That's the whole point,
Right.
right? It's just, you got to get over that hump. The third one is not a strong enough why. In other words, why are you setting that goal? And we talked about this last week, Tim, where if you're losing weight for somebody else, you're losing it for the wrong reason. If you're
Correct.
getting in shape for somebody else, like, why are you doing this? And it really should be to make yourself better, be a better person, be a better vision of yourself, whatever it happens to be. Simon Sinek, the author, he wrote a book, Start With Why. It's a great book, and the crux of it is that many companies aren't super successful because they don't know why they're there. They know what they do, they know how they do it, but they don't know why. Like, what's the mission? What's the moral compass? What is driving that company at the end of the day? And he says that leaders who understand the why and can convey that why to their employees have much more influence over their employees, but more importantly, people are more motivated, and now they work with a higher purpose. They're not just in there on the assembly line polishing something over and over and over.
They're not just going through the motions.
They understand where they fit in the bigger picture. Right, they're not just going through the motions. They understand the purpose behind what they're doing and why the company's there and the bigger things the companies are trying to achieve and their place in the world and so on and so forth. So, again, with goals, why, back to our original example, if you're going to fight at nationals, why are you doing it?
Yeah.
Just because it's something to do? All right, that's fine. Or it's something, to make yourself better, or you're trying to achieve something. Fine, understand that.
Yeah.
Right, and really go for it.
I remember back when Sam and I fought 7 years ago, our first fight.
It's been that long already.
For me, it was, I've been doing it for a couple of years. If I really get into a fight, what happens? Am I going to stand there? Am I going to turn? Like, where am I really at? Like, I just needed for me to know, am I all bark, like in my own head, or am I really, am I good at this? And I lost, and I got my butt whipped for 6 minutes, but I found out that when things really get bad, I'm gonna stay in the fight. So I learned a lot from my fight.
You do learn a lot about yourself in something like that.
Well,
Mine
for
was
sure.
pretty much for the same reasons.
Yeah.
The number 4 is not setting our priorities. I think that goes without saying. You have to prioritize. You have to make it a priority. That goes back to putting it on the schedule. Making it a priority. Stop making excuses. If it's a priority, you don't make excuses.
Correct.
Right? You put it number 1 on your list. It's like, again, if you're skipping workouts, you're making it late to your practices. You're just not making it a priority. And in my mind, you almost deserve to fail, right? And that's a terrible thing to say, but you reap what you sow. It's on the back of all our shirts.
Yeah.
Every day is training day. You reap
Right.
what you sow.
Right.
It's your own fault
Yeah.
at the end of the day. Like at UNO, when I'm teaching, kids get a bad grade, and they're like, "Is there anything else I could do?" I'm like, "Well, what you should have done was make this class a priority, or make your education a priority." And I get it. Some people are working full time, they have families, and it's tough. I get it. But then you can't expect a 4.0 if you're not willing to make it a priority. Right? Just understand that. There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
Say, hey, you know what? I'm juggling school, I'm juggling a family, I'm juggling 2 jobs. Hey, all right. The goal isn't a 4.0. The goal is to pass with B's. Hey, that makes sense to me.
Right. Absolutely.
That goes again to setting the goal probably where it's not too lofty.
You're going to set a realistic.
It's realistic.
Yeah, and understanding your priorities, understanding where it is in your life. Another one that I thought was interesting was crying wolf too often. I was like, what the heck does that mean? Well, what they're saying here is we talk about doing things and we fail to do them. And the more we do that, we start to not only lose credibility with other people, but we lose credibility with ourselves. So in other words, you talk a good game. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And we've all seen people do that. We've all seen people come in the gym. Yeah, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And then you sit back and watch. And usually on the side, I'll grab one of you guys. I'm like, no, they're not.
Right.
They're not going to. I can tell already
All
they're
of a
not
sudden
going
they
to do
just
it.
disappear and stop coming to the gym.
Right. I can already tell they're not going to do it. And then so the next time that person says, "Yeah, I'm gonna do this," I'm like, "No, you're not." And if you think about that, we all have people in our life that are like, "Yeah, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that." And you're like, "Dude, you've never done that. You've got a history of not following through on anything."
The people that jump on every fad diet, oh, this is the one that's going to do it for me. Like, no, if you would have stuck to one 7 years ago when you said you were going to start, think how much better you would be instead of always. Oh, this is it. This is one that's really going to do it for me. Like,
well, psychologically, what are you telling yourself? Like the little voice and even that little voice in your own head's going, "No, you're not."
it's almost like
It's kind of like a way of just making yourself feel better for a little bit of time.
Well, you're convincing yourself, right? You're convincing yourself.
Well, I keep trying.
That it's okay where you're at. Like, well, if I'm talking about it, that means it's happening, right? And it comes down to discipline. It comes down to priority. And I know discipline is kind of a broad brush, but at the end of the day, man, I think that's the biggest problem with most people is just having a discipline to not do the things that are damaging ourselves, not do the things that are stuff that are holding ourselves back. Discipline to commit. I mean, that's just commit to what you want to do it.
Yep.
We talked about it last week, owning it.
Yeah.
Make a goal, own it, commit to it. Put everything else secondary. And if you can't put anything else secondary, understand the feasibility of the goal. Make a plan, not being committed. We just talked about it. Not having a deadline. This is big. I've read a lot about this. Is if you put a deadline, now you create a sense of urgency. If you never put a deadline, you just keep pushing it off. I'll get there. Well, when? Someday. Well, when's that?
Whenever I get there.
Like 2 years from now, a week from now, 10 years from now.
That's like when somebody says, "I want to lose weight." Well, how much? 20 pounds. Well, when? He goes, "Well, I don't know. I want to put a time on it. I don't want to pressure myself." No, you should pressure yourself. Otherwise, you won't do it.
Yeah. In 10 years when you've lost 20 pounds, like, yeah, I hit that goal. Look at me. Woohoo. Congratulations.
Then you have just the opposite, though. You have some people who are like, "Hey, I want to lose 20 pounds. When? By next week?"
Yeah, I'm going on a cruise.
Okay.
Again, make it realistic.
Let's be realistic. Yeah.
Gotta make it realistic.
Let's be realistic about this. And then the last one, it's people give up when the going gets tough. And I think that is, once again, the harsh reality of a goal should be challenging. You got to be willing to be inconvenienced.
Yeah.
If you're the type of person that doesn't like to be inconvenienced, you're going to have trouble with goal setting and
Correct.
achieving goals. Actually, you won't have a trouble with goal setting. You'll have a trouble with achieving goals.
Or getting off the start line.
Well, yeah, the process of. And again, like you said, the start line. Action alleviates anxiety. Just do something.
Yep.
Do something. Do anything to get to the goal. Have you guys ever failed to achieve a goal?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
You were too quick. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why? What was the number one reason?
Oh, mine was not making it a priority. I didn't make it a priority.
Yeah. Same
I mean,
with weight loss. With all the years I struggled with weight, I got down to a lower weight at one point, and then it just became easy to start eating crappy again. And then I got mad. Like I got so heavy again that it was like, why did I ever have to get that big again? It was because I was lazy and I didn't care about my nutrition. And I was, I'm going to the gym, so I should be in shape. Well, yeah, but it falls back to things we talked about earlier. Nutrition is a huge part of that. So until I really was like, I'm done messing around, this is what I'm going to do, I'm going to stick to it, to where now I'm finally at a place where it's just my normal. It's not a goal anymore. It's just who I am. But it took a long time to finally get there. But it was that I didn't love myself enough to make me a priority over everything else, which is what I should have done.
Tune in each Saturday morning with fun banter on what it takes to live a healthier, happier, and more vibrant life in the Big O. Treadmills and Tangents with Coach Aaron Cerrone and his army of wellness warriors.